The Greek Games were started in 1903 when the class of 1904 challenged the class of 1905, so first years and sophomores, to some competitions. And they continued as games of athletic, artistic, and intellectual prowess.
They would compete in dance, in hoops, in chariot, in hurdling, dedicating the ceremony to a Greek god or a goddess.
It was one of the few opportunities to really work together between day students and dorm students. We had a classmate who jumped up and in Greek challenged the sophomores, and then there were all the athletic events.
The chariot races weren't about racing for speed. Each team would write a paragraph about what their race was supposed to be. The horses paw the ground and the charioteer looks to the sky. All of a sudden they look up and, go. And so they were really performing this paragraph.
The idea that they would run around with this chariot behind them pulling it just seems sort of ludicrous, but at the same time I think, God, that was fun.
I was a charioteer, and the big thing that I remember from those days was the cry, and the cry was Nike Exinda.
I tried out to be a horse, but I didn't make it till I was a sophomore. And I always thought that was my major achievement and highest honor to become a Greek Games horse, and I was also in the torch race.
I was a dancer. The first year that we danced, we had very long dresses with flowing arms. The second year we were hunters in a forest and we had on very short togas, and it was very important to choose the design and the colors.
Everyone was involved in making all the costumes. All the costumes were handmade by the students. All the sets were handmade. It was a huge part of Barnard history up until 1967.
The 1968 games were actually planned, but because of the student protests over at Columbia, they never happened. So the last official Greek Games were in 1967. Talk about the Greek Games resurrection began in the fall of 2010. We have a strong community. How can we make it stronger? How can we have more traditions? Well, we have this wonderful old tradition that, no one's tried to revive in full form for 40 years, so why not try that?
We kept a lot of the athletic competitions, hurdling, discus throwing, hoop racing. We're having performances by student groups in both theater and dance.
When I heard that Greek Games were being revived, I told my daughter, who became immediately enthusiastic.
We've dedicated the games to a goddess, to Athena this year. And then we've had a classic student write an ode to Athena in Greek.
However, we're also, throwing in some new things like yoga in a toga and Plato's Pilates. The event that I'm most excited for is Capture the Flag, which is not a traditional Greek Games event, but it's something that we decided to incorporate in this year's games.
It's kind of been like a class war, and we've been keeping tally of how many points each class gets. My class is not doing so well, but the sophomores are dominating. I think they've won almost every single event so far.
One of my favorite events this year was hurdling, because in high school I was a hurdler, and they were judged by 4 alumni who were class of 1949 and 1959. So I have learned from the Barnard alumni how to do the official hurdles of the Greek Games.
I think it's that team spirit, that campus spirit that is resurrected alongside the chariot races and all this. It means something to have a tradition passed on for keeping people together and ideas alive.
Winning was really, really great, but I think it's because we really came together and participated, and that's why we racked up all these points back here. It wasn't skill, it was just community.
I've always thought that one of the things that made our class so cohesive, still to this day, was that we won Greek Games as freshmen and we also won as sophomores.
But we were contenders. Poets, athletes, dancers, reaching for achievement, perfection, all the Greek values.
How about that?